So, yeah. We've done a couple of comedy nights in the past few years, but this is definitely our biggest, baddest one yet. I have taken time to think about the comedians that each one of you individually will hate the most, based on your astrological sign. I've invited them here tonight. No, I think everybody on the bill tonight, I have my own separate private love affair with. I'm trying hard to avoid talking too much about how attractive each of them are, because I feel like that's such a male comedian thing to do. So I'm not going to do that. They say that you don't choose your family, and that's totally true. My family, I definitely didn't choose them. But I managed to, even after my biological family being as terrifying as they are, managed to find not one, but two families, my theater family, my comedy family here in Baltimore City, that are more fucked up than my biological family. Which is important because my mother left the convent so that she could marry a paraplegic and then a black guy. Because she was like, I'm out of middle fingers, mom and dad. Marry all these people that you don't understand. I will keep it brief. I'm leaving in a little over a week, which makes me really, really sad, but it makes me really, really happy to see all your beautiful faces. Even though I'm leaving, I have been honored to be a part of planning an awesome 9th season. If you get a chance, grab an orange slip of paper on your way out the door that has our season on it. Become a member. This space is incredible. I don't know if you guys have opened your eyes and looked around, but it's an incredible space. We moved in a year and a half ago. It is expensive as shit. It's so expensive to be here. We love it so much, but it's like when we were, some of you guys have been with us since we were over at Load of Fun. Clap if you ever saw a show at Load of Fun. Load of Fun was like the apartment where you're where you look at your husband in 50 years and be like, remember that old apartment? Mice everywhere, and we paid $3 a month. We just started to step over the dead body, And you think about it so nostalgically, but in reality, it was terrible. It was terrible. And we are so proud and honored that we're here now. But it costs a lot of money to keep the lights on in this joint. So we're doing a $33 campaign. If generally about 1,000 people come through our doors in 6 to 8 weeks, whether we're running, depending on whether we're running a show. If each of those people donated $33, we would end our year in the black, which is a pretty solid accomplishment for a company. So if you can help us be a part of that, we would be honored to do it. But for now, for the next little bit, sit back, relax, buy all the alcohol, enjoy the show. The first comedian on the bill tonight is a personal favorite of mine. He runs the best open mic in town, Sidebar. And I am so honored that he's joining us tonight. Everybody welcome Dark Mark!
Hey, everybody! People here. A lot of white people here. That's cool. I'm comfortable with that. I'm cool with white people. I just don't want to be surprised by white people. I want to know what's coming. I don't want to go to a cookout and be surprised by the potato salad. Is that peas? Is that celery in it? Actually, I didn't really mix it up with a lot of black people, a lot of white people before I started doing comedy. And, because things are a little bit different for no particular reason. It's just a different lifestyle. One thing I noticed, I did something not too long ago that I've never done before. Some of you guys might have heard of it. I called the police. So they saw it behind me, like, oh, okay. There they are. I have children. And you guys got kids? A couple of kids? Here and there? That's cool. The crazy thing about having kids is I was spending some quality time with my daughter not too long ago, and she and I went on this website called Lumosity.com. You know, anybody heard of that? Lumosity? A couple people. For the people who haven't, it's a website where they do like brain games and IQ tests and stuff like that. And when I first go on a website, you know, they give my daughter an IQ test, and I find out my baby is a borderline genius. Give it up for my daughter. She's like, you know, I feel good. Also, according to Lumosity.com, I am retarded. That's the same thing she did. That's why I'm making all her birthday gifts out of macaroni. Now, she's smart ass. Let me see you figure out how to send a text with this macaroni iPhone. Skip to school with macaroni Ugg boots on. She fuck up again, I'm gonna boil those motherfuckers. She be sliding. I thought all this shit out. I'm taking liberties with the hard word. Actually, I used to work with people with developmental disabilities, and you know, I got friends, people I love right now that that I know from that field. And what you learn when you're doing that kind of stuff is that there are people like us, and they come in the full spectrum. You know what I mean? A lot of them are assholes. There's a lot of retarded assholes. It happens. I'm telling you, man. My first client was even a racist. Can you believe that? He was racist. You can believe it? Y'all waving like it's somebody here that way. I should have known, because when I first got him, he had like a bib. You know how he sometimes drew? He had a bib, and it had like the Confederate flag on it. I was like, oh damn, I've never seen a Confederate. Oh, we testy about that here. This is a bad time for white people in that flag. I didn't want to believe it either. I was just like, I was like, oh, Dukes of Hazzard, you believe it. But the thing, that's not what got me. What got me is he had like a keyboard. You know how like sometimes he couldn't talk. He had like I am Charlie. He had a button on his keyboard that was like nigger. I was like, what? A nigga, he didn't even type it. Nigger. I was like, wow. I spent the whole first 2 weeks of my job trying to see what the icon on the nigga button looked like. Is it me with an afro? Is it a space bar? Is it a hole? The crazy thing, when I first started working there, they was like, listen, Charlie, it's Halloween time. They said, Charlie, we want you to dress up like the scariest thing you've ever seen in your life. You could be a wolf man, you could be Frankenstein, you could be anything. And Charlie comes in the next day and he's got like some brown stuff on his face, and he shaved off his hair, he painted stuff on his lips. And I'm like, damn, Charlie, you're really into your costume. What are you supposed to be? And he's like, you. What? I'm the scariest thing he's ever seen in his life. He's got a foot growing out where his hand is supposed to be. I'm sorry. I'm just fucking around. I knew there was something wrong with me when I saw that movie back in the days. What's it called? With Cuba Gooding Jr. Radio. Yo, I watched like 70% of that movie and I didn't even know he was retarded. I didn't know. It's like, why don't you just comb his hair and believe in yourself? Well, high school was 7 years long. That's how long I was in high school. I also have a son. I have a 2-year-old son. And he's adorable. Thank you everybody. But what people don't know about 2-year-olds is that 2-year-olds have no boundaries. None whatsoever. The other day I was taking a shower and I got out the shower and I'm naked or whatever, and my son just comes right in and just gives my dick a high five. He's like, no, he didn't even look at it. That was crazy. What the fuck is he doing? There's 2 more steps and the room is over. I am concerned, although I have a 2-year-old, I'm talking all this crazy stuff, but I'm always concerned with the ideas that I allow my child to see. You know what I mean? I'm concerned about what I let them watch, what I let them eat, And the number one thing I'm against is Disney World. Walt Disney. Somebody feels me. That lady feels me. She feels me. And for the people that don't feel me, I'm explaining to you. Walt Disney is an evil man. I'm telling you. Look at his characters. You got Mickey. What's Mickey, y'all? It's a mouse. You got Donald, who's a duck, right? You've got Pluto, who's a... So what the fuck is Goofy? You know what nobody ever says? Nobody ever says that he's a bitch and a coward. He's a dog that hangs out with 2 dudes that own a damn dog. That's like me hanging out with a white man that still owns a slave. You know what I'm saying? Sir, imagine if I came over your house and you had my uncle chained up on the porch like a motherfucking puppy. You think I just walk by like, hey guys, look, what's going on? Like, no, what the fuck is up with this dog? Motherfucker, uncle, shit. I thought about that, right? I was watching this show called Disney's Magical Kingdom, right? And at the end of the show, everybody gets an opportunity to throw a ball to Pluto. You know what I'm saying? And he's tired. Pluto's tired. Mickey's like, hey, Pluto, go get it. Come on. Fucking throws it. Pluto's down. Shit. Donald did whatever. I can't do that. I'm trying. I'm working like whatever. She spits a lot. Pluto still gotta go get it. You know the crazy shit? You know who never went to get the ball? Come on, y'all been paying attention. Goofy never went to get the ball. You know why? Because if he threw the ball, Pluto would have been like, hold up, nigga, you go get it. You fucking Uncle Tom, don't throw me no ball. Throw me some shit I can use, something I can pop this chain with and bite these motherfuckers. Oh, man. I'm gonna tell one more joke before I get out of here. My name is Dark Mark, right? And it's got nothing to do with me being black. One black dude like, he ain't even that black. What the fuck is he? Dark Mark. It's actually because I tell a lot of kind of mean jokes, kind of fucked up jokes. Y'all want to hear a real quick fucked up joke before I leave? Yeah. If you like me before, you're not gonna like me after this, so I'm just telling you. I'm gonna just walk directly out of this motherfucker with this joke. I have a boss, right? And I hate her. You know? Anybody else hate their boss? I heard somebody. Anybody else having tension at work? But see, the thing is, I'm not allowed to hate her because she has cancer. I know. And I hope she gets all better from cancer, because I'm against cancer. And I hope she gets all better, so that bitch can die from something else. Thank you very much, everybody. My name is Dark Mark.
Show you what it means to be a host. Because that takes some serious stamina. I want to keep the show moving. I also want to encourage people as you come in. I know that Single Carrot is a theater, but we're all comedians, so we're used to working in bars and there's an open mic at a grocery store. It's not, buy a drink, buy your ticket, buy a drink, walk in, you can walk right in front of everybody. This is not innocent, don't worry about it. It's as good and as in demand. But don't think twice about it, sit in the front, we'll bring in more chairs if we have to. Excellent work. Excellent work. The next comedian coming to the stage is such a good friend of mine. She's one of my favorite people on earth. She is one of the only people that I consistently eat 7-Eleven hot dogs with, which is it's like a small group of people. She has probably pooped since she's been here. We did a podcast together once, and it was terrifying. And the guys hosting it were like, "I'm super attracted to you. I bet you never poop." And the two of us looked at each other and we were like, "You could not say something more inaccurate about this person." And she doesn't flinch and she goes, "Oh, I've shit since I've been here." I was like, that's a real woman. I hope this is the greatest introduction you've ever had. She's beautiful and amazing and extraordinarily talented, and I love her so much. Everybody welcome Abby from Nara.
There's just like food that I eat that makes me sick. Anyway, I just like really quickly just want to say a few things about Jessica. I just want to say this has been my first year-ish doing comedy, and I couldn't be more happy to be doing it alongside someone that I respect so much and think is the funniest comedian in Baltimore. So. Yeah, so on that note, I also am moving pretty soon. I'm going to be moving to Colorado. Mixed response there. Like, oh. I feel the same way. But I noticed some differences between Colorado and Baltimore. The first one being like they just don't have problems. They have coyotes, but they're small. And like Baltimore is totally not that way. Like we're a very gritty city, and I love that. And something I'm gonna miss kind of is like, so right now I live in a neighborhood where every morning I go out to my car and I check to see if there's someone sleeping in it before I drive off to work, because you have to sometimes. And like, I think the worst case scenario neighborhood-wise in Colorado will be like, maybe someone's gonna pee on my lawn. Some like drunk frat guy just gets lost. I also noticed there's one homeless person in Colorado. Just one dude, and he only asks for weed. It's true. And he doesn't do the Baltimore thing where like they ask for money and also to be your boyfriend. Which I don't know if any of you have ever received like a dirty napkin with directions to behind a 7-Eleven on it before. But it's impressive. I was kind of curious, but also terrified. And like the other thing is, like I grew up in Prince George's County, Maryland. I grew up in Hyattsville. I went to UBC. Like pride themselves, go Retrievers. They like pride themselves on being really diverse. And then I just moved straight to Baltimore from that. So the first time that I was ever actually in Colorado, I kind of thought that I was in like a big lacrosse tournament. But I'm doing some things to prepare for the move. I got my car fixed up. I'm gonna drive out there, and I think I'm gonna get a haircut. It's funny. I think whenever like women with long hair in particular, whenever they get their haircut, people are always like, "Why? Your princess hair." Someone said that to me once. But like, I will tell you why. If like every time you get out of the shower, you're pulling a Locks of Love donation out from between your ass cheeks, you get a haircut, or like maybe like sleep more. But like a haircut's easier. I can do that. I think there's probably only like 4 lengths that I could really do with my hair. Like there's like short, and like I hope that I'm pretty confident in how my face looks for that whole period of time. And then there's sort of like the girls who like horses. Like, you know them. Then there's like the homeschooled of trying to escape my oppressive upbringing. And I had a pretty weird upbringing, I'll say. My mom is a very interesting woman. She will, like, in one sentence, she'll be like, here, have a kale, hemp milk, chia seed smoothie, it's really good for you. And then, like, turn around and be like, but why do they put so many gays in movies? Thanks, Mom. She's a trip. I think if my mom controlled Hollywood, every movie would be 30 minutes long, and they would all end at church potlucks. like fruit salad. Like Requiem for a Dream would be a very different movie. Everyone would have all their limbs by the end. Like they would go to rehab, but like a super Christian one, which is just like church camp with a lot of Tylenol. And they would just be fine and happy and at their potluck with their fruit salad. I was brought up in a very religious environment. Protestant Presbyterians and me, Presby's in the house. Nope. Great. I had my first sex talk when I was 20. Little late, Mom. And my mom, she has some weird ideas. She told me that every time a guy and a girl have sex, the guy was taking a part of the girl's soul from her. Which, like, my question is, like, how many pieces can the soul be divided into? Like, how many times do I have left before I just, like, evaporate? And also, is that why I'm so pale? But, I mean, this is why, like, I know adults who keep having miracle babies because they don't believe that you can get pregnant if you have sex in a hot tub. A lot of miracle babies racked up. You can't just rinse it out. It works. Nobody told me that. I just figured. Oh, God. So, I think we're all pretty much in agreement that it's like a little bit fucked up for us to assume that babies want to be born. Right? We're all like pretty unanimous. As like a rule for the country. I just think, like, look, they don't know what they like yet, you know? It's like, it can be really hard to spend 18 years of your life with someone you don't like. Like, I just think maybe that's just not me. Like, I don't think a baby wants to spend 18 years of his life with me. As their caretaker, like, oh, pretty fun and easygoing, but like, I was eating food earlier and an ant crawled across my face and I didn't do anything about it. That's a great mom. But I think, like, if I ever have a kid, I'm just gonna do the fair thing. I'm gonna just cut the cord myself. I'm gonna hand it a backpack full of, like, necessary baby things. A copy of On the Road. Send it on its way. And if it comes back, it can stay. We have something special. It's not gonna come back. And the babies are dumb. It's not their fault. Like, they'll get smarter, hopefully. But then again, like, if Jack Kerouac could do it, maybe. I hate beat poets. Let me tell you why. They were just fucked up all the time. Pretty fucking racist. They raped a few people, and they weren't even good at sports. Their greatest achievement is that, like, some of them died from natural causes. I'm gonna leave you guys with this. I have a sex. We know each other now. We knew each other before I got on here, thanks to my great introduction. I have a little checklist that I like to run through before I have sex with someone. Just like, you know, before they see my naked body in that way. I like to check for a few things. The first one's pretty simple. It's just like, is there anything in my eyes, nose, mouth? Because that would be embarrassing. And then the second one is, do my underpants look like Alf sneezed in them? The answer is yes, because I have a pH balance.
about when we have events at the end of the season is that you guys are really our like cleanup crew. We need to like drain all of our alcohol reserves, and so that's your job. Welcome to Single Care. The next comedian coming to the stage runs my favorite room in the area. Absolutely. If you're ever out to Frederick, apparently they love comedy there. He runs several rooms, but Cellar Door is such an incredible place. And Sunday nights, if you are dying to go to the outer Baltimore suburbs, that is the place to be. So friendly, so well run. He's a talented comedian. I just love him. Ryan Nazer, everybody.
What's going on, Baltimore? How you feeling? Yay! Let's hear it for Jessica one time. This is amazing. Putting this together. Okay, who was the person where she said Freddie? I'm not going there. All right, fair enough. I love being in Baltimore. I love it's a great mixed crowd. Black people here, Asian people. A guy wearing all denim and a rat tail, so the white people are here. Give it up for yourselves real quick. That's what she meant by pussy on stage. I thought I was overdressed. Guys, who's excited about baseball season? Anybody here like, that's about right. It's not for everybody. It really isn't. It's not for everybody. Baseball is actually a lot like racism. Because if your dad doesn't teach you about it, chances are you're not going to be that into it. I actually just recently moved in with my grandfather. He's 94. He needed help, so I was like, I'll move in. I'll help take care of him. It's kind of selfless until I realized how racist he is. Like a scale of 1 to 10, he's Mel Gibson. It's bad. We were watching a World War II documentary. I could see that he's getting like physically pissed off. I'm like, Granddad, why are you getting so mad? He's like, I was in World War II. We didn't call them Japanese, we called them Japs. I was like, that doesn't make any sense at all. Why would you ever call a Japanese man a Jewish American princess? And he giggled at that, so I was like, oh, he thinks that's funny. No. He was just super tickled to have 2 racial slurs for the word Jap. He had a field day. I brought my ex-girlfriend over. Her name was Misoru Silverstein. She's Japanese and Jewish. It's okay. That's just silly. That's just silly. But it's great practice. Like, taking care of him is really good practice because I want to have kids someday. And like, it's very similar. I have to put him to bed at night. I have to feed him. I have to change his diapers. Like, the biggest difference, though, is the other day, he fell over, and I got really scared. I was like, holy shit. That's a huge difference between him and a child. Like, if he accidentally dies while I'm watching him, I'm probably not going to jail. Like, the cops can get there, and you can have a pillow over his face. They'd be like, what the hell happened here? I'm like, oh, him? He's 94. Oh, wow, he lived a long time. Yes, he did. Case closed. I do like living with him, though, because I did realize very fast that I can't be racist. I love women way too much. There's a lot of beautiful women here tonight. Let's hear it for the ladies in the house. That's cool. A lot of gays here, too. That's fine. Let's hear it for the ladies in the house. I dated white women, Hispanic women, black women. My last girlfriend was black, so beautiful, drop dead gorgeous. And she was kind of perfect, except she was just like constantly reminding me how big of a failure I am, just nagging me, and you do this, you do this. We had this huge fight one time, and she had me dead to rights, like off the top. She was like, you don't make enough money, you have a shitty job, and I had nothing on her. So I said the first thing that popped in my head. I said, oh yeah, you're a nagger. She hit me in my face. It turned the microphone off. A lot happened when I said that. I was like, baby, I love you, like with all my heart. I did not just call you what you think I called you. And she's a woman. She didn't really want to admit she was wrong. She just said, close enough, Cracker. She said, next time, be on the safe side, throw an A on me and call me a naga. Maybe not enough black people here for that joke. I don't know. I did. I loved her. We had fun. And I noticed something dating white women and black women. They're very different sexually. Like, black women, in my experience, they're quick to let you know what they want sexually. Like, off the top, bend me over, smack my ass, pull my hair. No, actually, black women's not gonna tell you to pull hair. White women, a little shyer, but when they do, like, come out of their shells and tell you what they want sexually, it gets freaky as shit. It goes from bend me over, smack my ass, pull my hair, choke me, to pee on me. I had a woman ask me to pee on her one time. She's like, is that weird? Should we talk about it? I was like, yes, we definitely need to talk about that. But I couldn't have a serious conversation while she had pee on her face. I made her. That's right, I did it. But I'm not like R. Kelly running around trying to find women to pee on. I'm more like Meatloaf. I'll do anything for love. But I won't do scat. I'll accept the correct parents. That's fair. It's weird though. Something's going on in this country. Like Dark Mark, give it up for Dark Mark again. Very good friend of mine. We had a show together a couple weeks ago, and I was talking to this white girl that I was trying to date, and we were talking. I was like, "Oh, my buddy Dark Mark's here," and she looks at him. She goes, "That's racist as shit." And I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! I didn't just decide to call this man Dark Mark. He told me to call him Dark Mark. That's not racist at all. What's racist is that's not Dark Mark. Totally different black guy." And I realized that this beautiful white woman that I was trying to talk to suffered for something that this country is going through right now, which is white guilt. And I've never experienced it. I don't know because I love black women. I don't know if I was raised correctly, but I've never experienced white guilt. Actually, that's not 100% true. Like the closest thing that I've had to white guilt is like when I drink too much and I end up doing cocaine. And the next day I have a ton of white guilt. My nose hurts. I'm like, why did I do that? White powder! White powder! I can't quit your white powder! That's just stupid. Give me a round of applause real quick, guys. I had a seizure the other day. I don't know why I made you clap for that. I have epilepsy, but I haven't had a seizure in like 17 years. So it was scary. It was scary as shit. I had a seizure. I went to the doctor. I was like, what's going on? I kind of thought that part of my life's done. I thought I'd never have to worry about that again. He's like, epilepsy. You just can't shake it. I was like, shit, my doctor's an asshole, okay. He's like, no, seriously, like something had to change, something in your eating habits, something in your sleeping habits. I was like, well, I've been sober for like 3 weeks. He's like, wait a second. By sober, does that mean that you stop smoking marijuana? I was like, yeah. He's like, that's it. We prescribe marijuana for epilepsy now. I was like, holy shit, I should have been a doctor. I've been self-medicating for 17 years. I was like, do you think you could write a note saying that? He's like, a note? For what, your job? I'm like, no, for my mom. She needs to know she was wrong, guys. Having a seizure is like a very embarrassing thing. You fall on the ground, you flop around. What you're supposed to do is like, if you can, get on your side. And like I said, when I was having most of my seizures, it was 17 years ago. I was in middle school, which is already like the most embarrassing time of anybody's life. But I've always been a really good bullshitter. So I've always been able to play it off. I'd be at school and I feel a seizure coming on and be like, shit. Oh, shit, y'all didn't know I'd be breakdancing in school today? And I kind of feel like falling on the ground and flopping around and having a seizure is really the only acceptable answer for the question, turn down for what? You guys know the expression, it's all about who you know. You've heard that before, right? We've all heard that. I really feel like my mom takes that way too seriously because she's constantly asking people if they know Jesus. I'm like, Mom, there's no way all these people know your gardener. That's ridiculous. And she gets pissed off. She's like, don't joke about Jesus. Jesus is my friend. And I was like, I don't really believe that Jesus is your friend. You're clearly just using him to get to his dad. You can hear it in my comedy like a little bit. I'm obsessed with women. And it's not just a sexual thing. at all. I just constantly want attention from women, and I'm trying to become more self-aware. So I was talking to my mom about it. I was like, Mom, why do you think that is? Why do you think I constantly crave attention from women? And I'll never forget what she said. She looked at me and said, shut the hell up, my shows are on. I just think that's her way of saying some things you need to figure out on your own. My name's Ryan Nation, guys. Thank you very much.
I can tell you that Ryan Nazer does love women. This was forever ago. This was like over a year ago. Abby and I had sex with him. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's like the greatest thing I've ever said to Ryan Nazer. We were walking after a comedy night, and Ryan looks at Abby's boyfriend and says, what's to do with that guy? And I go, you know, that's Nathan. He is like one of my oldest, closest, dearest friends. It is serious. She is not single in any way. And he goes, okay, cool. So, what's your deal? Oh, this is great, you guys. Uh-oh, I've had some drinks. Those promised emotions are. I kept trying to type Remington in my phone today, and it kept auto-correcting to emotional. This is a real thing, and I thought that was very fitting for a day like today. The next comedian is super funny. He's super young. He's like a child. Everyone knows. We had cats last weekend. This weekend, children doing comedy. That would be cool. We should do that. No, I'm surprised how young he is because he's so funny, and I've been watching him, unbeknownst to him, like through his window at night. And the work that he's done and how funny he's gotten so quickly is really impressive to me. And also, I had a dream recently that I saw him at a Ja Rule concert. And he's like too young to even know who that is, so that's pretty incredible. Everybody, welcome to the stage, Eric Glazer.
Hey guys, how you doing? Man, I know way too many of you. This sucks. Guys, I went to the gym today, and boy, are my arms tired. No, but I had to stop going to the gym recently. I had to stop. I know most of you see me before. Quite a spectacle, quite a specimen of a human body. Like Michelangelo's sculpture. A modern day Da Vinci. This is what Da Vinci was doing. He was alive on this day. No, but I had to stop going because I was getting too ripped. My glutes were too hard, and my mom just couldn't stop touching my butt. That was probably the final straw. Day in, day out, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack time. It's terrible. Guys, give it up for my mom. Guys, give it up for Jessica too. Gone too young. Give it up for Jessica. No, and give it up for all the comics before me. I'm not really sure why I'm fourth. I should have probably been like first. Everyone who went before me is so much funnier than me. This is terrible. This is not. When I got the invite to do this, I was, shell shocked. There was a flashbang in my face. There's no one else doing it. Obviously, I said yes. Now I'm here, and not prepared at all. I saw. This is gonna be hard to believe, but I saw a homeless guy the other day in Baltimore. Hold on. I saw a homeless guy spinning his sign. Like his job was to spin signs. Like he was that good. He was really good. I kind of wondered, like, why aren't homeless people spinning signs? Like, why is this pioneer out here on the streets doesn't have a job? Then I watched a little closer. He was dropping his sign a lot, guys. He definitely dropped his sign too many times. Like, definitely more than 3 strikes at a real job. And I kind of realized, the other homeless people who span signs already got jobs. This guy tried to get a job spinning signs, but he lost it due to his crippling drug addiction. What does that say? Oh, yeah. Guys, anyone online date here? Online dating? Anyone online dating? I tried Tinder for a hot second, but it was last winter. I tried Tinder, and there are too many girls in bikini pics in winter for my taste. Who are you trying to fool? Summer was 6 months ago. A lot can change. No, but I just signed up on this new website, fleshlight.com. And I'm matching about 5 to 7 business days, so quitting comedy. All I started comedy for. JK. Just not doing that. JK, I'm a cool guy. I don't need that website. But if anyone wants to donate like $80, just let me know. Guys, I'm total blankhead right now, so I wrote my set on my total missing 2 chromosomes right now. What am I doing up here, guys? Speaking of that, it's kind of apparent in today's world that gay, straight, it's a whole spectrum now. Like, it's not just binary, it's not just one or the other, there's a whole spectrum. A lot like autism. There's a huge spectrum. You guys, or simpler minds in here, if you want to think about it like this, homeless people, gay people are just retarded. Gay people are just dumb retards, If you don't know what your little pea brains. Think about it like that, I guess you can. Is anyone else mad that Southerners have been soothsayers recently? Soothsayers are people that can see into the future. But no, it's for the last 10 years, Southerners are oh, gay marriage, get that legalized. What's next? What's next? Were they gonna ban the Confederate flag? Territories. They can't do that. What? Olympic athlete's gonna come out as a girl? Yeah, right. Well, slippery slope. Next thing you know, white girl's gonna be black. Slippery slope, y'all. Just like my anime figurine. Bought one anime figure, bought 20. pizza's on a bagel. You can eat pizza anytime. Guys, whose parents let them eat bagel bites for breakfast? You got a bad mama. That man back there got a bad mama. My man's dad left. My man microwave bagel bites for breakfast. Man, what do I have left? Okay, cool. Got that white space in my head right now. Guys, I'm a bit of an artist, so I'm not even tell. Just being up here the last 7 minutes, 8 minutes, who cares? Who's counting, really? But I've been drawing something recently. I've been drawing birds. Drawing birds recently. Anatomically correct, obviously. I love the detail. I love drawing each feather. There's a rage in the talon, sharp beaks. But one thing that's always bugged me, I don't know what a bird dick looks like. So I've just been drawing birds with human dicks. Page after page. Really reached into my ink reserve. I'm running low. I'll buy a new 5-pack of pens soon. I'll leave you guys on. I'll leave you guys on this. Fuck the rest of that joke. I'm gonna leave you guys on an impression. Are you guys cool with that? Are you guys cool with impressions? Alright, I've been working on this for a little bit. This is my impression of a 22-year-old boy. Not me. Definitely not me. His impression of a 22-year-old boy who grew up with such classic gaming systems such as Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and he learned how to eat pussy by owning those gaming consoles. Alright, thanks, American Laser.
So I've been drawing a lot of birds. That everybody does. But that's great. I love Eric. I think he's a great person and a fucking hilarious comedian. So, then speaking of hilarious comedians, what a coincidence. Because the next comedian is also a hilarious comedian. And she's just one of my favorite people in the whole goddamn world. Because she's the greatest. Everybody, welcome to the stage, Miss Kathy Carson.
Give it up for Jessica Garrett. The reason we're all here is the beautiful, the wonderful. Give it up for Eric Glazier, alienating the audience so I don't have to. Thank you, sir. I'm really glad. I feel like Jessica decorated this set for me because I love the pussy. Cats, they're great. I was backstage, before the show started. And I like to kind of just look around where I am, And I saw one of those little pump things of hand soap, And it was called Crisp Mountain Air. Crisp Mountain Air. And it listed off all the things it was supposed to smell like. And the very end of it, it said, what it actually said when I read it again was hint of pear. But what I thought it said was hint of fear. And I really was like, they're really going for accuracy in this Crisp Mountain Air. Because if you ever camped out in the mountains, you wake up in the morning and you're very scared for your life because there's probably no cell reception if horror movies are to be believed, and you just don't know what's out there. It could be like a white trust fund kid trying to find himself out there. You don't know! You don't know! Oh man, you guys, speaking of white people, there's been a lot of like weird racial tension lately, am I right? Like, let's just talk about it for a second. Let's talk about the black-white lady for a second. Because there's not just one of them, there's two now. Because there's the lady out in wherever the fuck she's from. And then, Portland or whatever. But then there's this lady in Baltimore that is a white woman who says that she feels black on the inside. Because she identifies with black culture and she likes Motown music. Look, if liking one aspect of like an ethnicity's culture is like the way it makes you that ethnicity, then I'm also part Latin American and Indian because their food is the shit. And I definitely identify the most with food. So that's working out well for me. But it's just really weird to me, like that whole thing, because one of my best friends, this sounds like every racist like excuse ever, but one of my best friends is a black man, right? And sometimes when I get frustrated or I'm upset about something, he will quietly say to me, "You are a strong black woman, Kathy Carson." Because it's more of like a mindset, you know, like just being like cool with yourself and comfortable with yourself and like confident. And now I feel like that's all fucked up because if anybody heard him say that, like I would have some explaining to do. And that's just not cool because that's how we cope with a lot of stuff. Also, okay, not to take it down a notch, but that weirdo, like a lot of white dudes will talk about defending white women's like purity or whatever as like their excuse for being racist. And can you stop defending my feminine purity? Because I'm pretty sure that shit was gone like when I was 16 and I had sex a bunch. I think it's gone. I think it's obliterated. It's just gone. You suck my paddle shit. Abby was talking about catcalling. And it's a thing that happens to everyone. I feel like it happens to dudes too. They don't talk about it a lot, but I'm assuming it happens. I mean, we'll have a Q&A later, like a panel discussion, so if you would like to talk about your feelings, that's fine. The best instance, and this is 100% true, the best, because this is technically catcalling, but it was like the greatest catcalling ever. There are these two dudes on a bus bench, waiting for the bus, or maybe not, I don't know, maybe they were just hanging out. And I walked by him, and the one guy, he just looks at me and goes, "You look really nice! You look really nice today!" Yeah, just, cool. But then his friend was like, "No, you don't." Oh, okay. Then he said, "No, I'm just playing, but, I mean, it's whatever." I'm very conflicted. Because it's like, do I need to work on myself or not, stranger? Because you obviously know better than me, that's craziness. Like when you live in the city, I feel like you're just gonna have to deal with strangers talking to you, whether it's catcalling, panhandling, or other. Various and sundry. Because there's plenty of mentally ill people that will just talk to you about anything. Not to mention the guy in the laundromat that always has women's socks for sale. It's very specific, but it's always women's socks. And he always looks like hurt when you don't need them. I'm like, I'm literally washing my socks right now, bro. Like, I'm good for another like 3 weeks at the most. But I wrote it all down, guys. Homeless people are kind of, let's just be real, they're the original Kickstarter. Because it's just somebody just getting in your face about donating them money. And some of them are nicer than others. Some of them are like, could you please spare me something? No? Okay, have a blessed day. Some of them are very aggressive. I had a lady follow me down the street. I was like, listen, I literally have no cash. And she's like, well, do you have a credit card? And I was like, what do you got? Like, you got a Square app on your Obama phone? Like, how is that gonna like solve anything for you? Because you literally asked me for money, I'm assuming for booze. So, I don't know. But my favorite thing about like the experience with homeless people is watching other people of means like deal with homeless people. Case in point, I was at a stoplight in my car, and there's a homeless person on the side of the road, and he's got a sign, very sad. It says, anything helps, you know, and it's like, oh god damn. And like, hear me out though, you don't know what he needs. So anything helps. Potentially, he could just need directions. You just need to talk to the guy, right? And like, this person next to me also, like in the two like turning lanes, he looks over at this guy and he's fucking disgusted at this homeless dude. Like you could read it on his face. Like it was palpable, the hatred for this homeless person, you know? And I was just like, what the fuck, man, that's pretty harsh. And then this guy, the light turns green, he pulls away. On the back of his car, it's like a bunch of ASPCA stickers, like feel the warmth of a cold nose, and then like one of those paw print magnets that says, who rescued who? And you know, like, I was like, man, if that's not indicative of just like how we as human beings treat other human beings, and just like the disparity of our kind of idealistic like need to help people, and then like our actual actions, like, you know, that's like a perfect example, right? But that's not what pissed me off the most. You know what pissed me off the most about that? That magnet should have said, who rescued whom? Because, like, let's be real here. If you want to make a statement, like, do it with proper English, please. Like, Jesus Christ, you paid somebody money for that magnet. Fucking have some respect for yourself. And for the rest of us. Okay? But hey, I'm Kathy Carson. That's pretty much time.
Keep it going for Kathy Carson. Kathy holds a special place in my heart because, like, she was my first comedy friend. It's like, who rescued whom? You know? We'll never know. Yes, buy more drinks. Go to the bathroom. I'll wait. So rude, you guys. This is theater. I'm just kidding. Please buy more drinks. The next comedian who's on stage is another favorite of mine, and there's a pattern here. My favorite thing about the next comedian is that he knows which Royal Farms stocks which Ben & Jerry's ice cream in like the whole city radius. And so he'll be like, what do you feel like? And I'm like, I like ice cream with peanut butter in it. And he's like, well, we gotta go to Hampton for that. And I'm like, it's just a weird, quirky thing about people that I enjoy. All right. Yeah, come on in. Have a seat. It's gonna be great fun. Everybody, please welcome to the stage a very, very funny man, Mike Moran, everybody.
Give it up for Jessica, you guys. Bad news is she's leaving Baltimore. Good news is there's one less person who's more talented than me. Let's drain that pond, you all. My name is Mike Moran. If you're unfamiliar with me, I mainly specialize in D's Nuts comedy. Considered one of the East Coast's foremost D's Nuts based comedy artists. No, sometimes people will ask me, they'll say like, when they find out what kind of, when they find out that I'm a comedian, they'll ask me kind of, well, how would you describe yourself? Who would you compare yourself to? And what I usually tell them is I'm kind of a cross between Frank Moran and Francis Otterbein Moran. Like if the two had a baby. Reading about Jamie Foxx the other day. You guys know Jamie Foxx, the actor? Did you know he actually got his start in stand-up comedy? Did you guys know that? And the funny thing about that was he said he changed his name when he started doing stand-up because he thought he would get more gigs if people thought he was a woman, so he changed his name to Jamie Foxx. And I was thinking, like, maybe I could do something similar to get more gigs and change my name to Jamie Foxx. You know, I'd probably get more popular that way, right? I mean, if he said anything, I'd be like, dude, I'm doing the exact same thing you did for the exact same reasons, you know? Like, I'd be willing to maybe throw an extra X on the end if you wanted me to. But I can't imagine some porn star hasn't already thought of that. You would think, though, like, somebody as famous as Jamie Foxx could change his name back to his original name by now, you know? It's not like he's getting movie roles because movie directors think he's a woman. You know, it's not like he's showing up on the set and they're like, oh, Mr. Fox. We were expecting a woman, but you know what? We can change the Aretha Franklin story to Ray. Do a couple of rewrites. I am suffering. Guys, give it up for Baltimore. Baltimore. I actually live right down the street from here in Remington. Anybody here live in Remington? All right, you're the one. You know what they say about Remington. I've heard whatever happens in Remington sucks. Except for the single carrot theater. They actually just put up a street mural in my neighborhood. That's never a good sign, is it? The more inspiring the street mural, the sketchier the neighborhood, right? Is that Frederick Douglass releasing a white dove of peace? We're dead. We are dead. There's nothing we can do. I noticed this. Have you guys noticed recently they've started putting trash-only stickers on public trash cans? Finally! Been storing my valuables in public trash cans for years. Finally put up a sign. How is there not a Christian rock band called Scientific Method no more? So marijuana, right? That's a little less illegal now in Baltimore. Is that right? I don't really know. It's decriminalized, right? So it's, you know. So I was thinking, like, now that it's decriminalized, can we please stop pretending that we're buying tobacco pipes? You know what I'm talking about? Like, if you go to buy a bong, you have to be like, I'll take one tobacco pipe, sir. Has anybody ever smoked tobacco out of a tobacco pipe in the history of tobacco pipes? You ever been out on a smoke break at work? Somebody pulls out a 3-foot bong, just covered in marijuana leaves and Grateful Dead bears. No, you've never seen that, because that would kill you. You go through all the stages of cancer before you took your finger off the gauge. So the walrus is just nature's stapler, right? I recently traced my genetic lineage at ChristianAncestry.com. Turns out I'm descended from Adam. You know, I said that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense because that's probably where I get my fear of snakes from. And my mistrust of women. And my ability to fillet myself. Did you guys ever hear that stupid rumor in high school that some rock star had a rib removed so they could fillet themselves? Like, that's what rock stars do when they get too much money. Have surgeries for autoerotic reasons. Like, when is that ever the part of the behind the music fall from grace rock and roll excess story? You know, like, yeah, I knew I'd hit rock bottom when I was down to 2.5 ribs. Missed the Grammys because I was at home with my penis in my mouth. Even had my knee surgically unhinged so I could put my toe in my butt. That's right, single carrot theater, we've sunk that low. A toe in the butt. It'll be on my tombstone. Those cat circus people didn't say anything about a toe in the butt. I can tell you that right now. I don't know, that didn't make any sense. Did you guys see the cat circus last week? Was that not the greatest thing you've ever seen? No. Oh yeah, me neither, I guess. That was totally homosexual. I wasn't cheering into life for every time a cat walked on a plank. I totally didn't go home and try to train my cat. At all. I'm a dude, right? Oh man, I do need a Claritin being up here with all this fruit. Now, guys, tell me if this makes me a terrible human being. But whenever you're driving through like a major metropolitan area, and you see a big old cemetery right in the middle, don't you kind of think to yourself, we really could have used that land for parking? Is that disrespectful of me? It's just a bunch of dead bodies underground in boxes, right? Like, you can go be dead in the county somewhere. Well, real estate isn't at such a prime. It's not like the dead need easy access to public transportation. I mean, really, we could just convert cemeteries into parking lots as they are. You know, they're gridded just right. Now, don't forget, we parked in the Johansson family. Guys, listen, if you like what you saw tonight, do me a favor, go to the Maryland Sex Offender Registry, type in my name, all my information is there. No, I'm just kidding. Guys, give it up for Jessica. She's amazing. Thanks so much for having me.
Mike Moran, everybody. Having fun tonight? A little bit of fun? Have some more fun if everyone wants a little drunk. Okay. Let's play a drinking game. The drinking game is everybody drinks. When you hear a joke, you drink. That's fun, right? I promised emotions and they're happening, they're coming, because I have now had 2 glasses of wine. They were both from a box. So I'm extra emotional and I want to throw up a little bit, but in like a festive kind of way. Also, there's a lot of glitter around. The Acrocats, the cat circus brought a lot of glitter. And I feel like I've been ingesting it, so if I throw up, it could be fun, you know? It'll be fun for everyone. The next comedian coming on the stage is obviously a personal favorite of mine. I say that about every comedian, but it's true. Everybody you're seeing tonight this is like it's of our comedians. It's like when they bring the dessert cart around and you just sort of get to be like, oh, that's in that. And that. Nobody else does that. I get like 3 or 4 desserts when they bring that thing around. I also try to like grab the desserts and they're like, those are for display. They've been like completely shellacked. Please don't take those. And I'm like, don't take. I mean, you say they've been shellacked, but there's tiramisu under here. Like if I just crack through it, there's real dessert in here. All right, everybody. Speaking of real dessert, one of my favorite comedians, Ragu Mehta.
How you guys doing? I am your tiramisu of the night. Never been called that. Yeah, I want to apologize ahead of time, y'all, if I tell any like racial jokes. It's my mother's fault. Yeah, she grew up there in desegregation in the South, and she like raised me to be really pro-black. Matter of fact, like growing up, she got me a Nelson Mandela lunchbox. It didn't have his picture on it or anything. It just didn't have any food inside. Just flies. I don't really know what the message was. I don't really know. I'm in a fraternity, a black one. Alright. That's where they like beat your ass and they tell you I love you. Just like home. As opposed to like a white fraternity, you know, like a white fraternity. That's like when they like just get you drunk and they make you do gay shit. Just like home. Hey, you guys remember that airliner was missing, right? The airliner? Yeah, well, Chinese and Malaysian officials are reporting to have located a pink in the Indian Ocean using sonar. The Pink family is very excited. You guys like video games? Video games? Yes, yes. Yes, I got a game, Grand Theft Auto. Anybody play that? Grand Theft Auto? Right, I got it. It's amazing, right? Went home, popped it in, and see here like gunshots. Pop, 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 pop! People screaming, oh shit! God damn! That was going on. Woo, 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 woo! So then I closed my window. Finish downloading the game. And go online and play That's My House. Live in a bad neighborhood. It's bad. How bad is it? It's so bad. I'm not used to that format. Let's switch up. How bad is it? It's so bad. Front of my house is like a super Walmart. Crap. Except for people dressed about it. It's bad. Like a lot of people have been talking about like riots, right? I lived down there where it was happening. Some people call it like riots. Some people call it like the uprising. You ask me, I'm always gonna remember this time them niggas stole my trash can again. Again. Yeah, it's bad. We were having like anybody here got kids? Kids? Woo! All right. So the rest of y'all just better than us? Y'all just feet on sheets, wear condoms, you swallow, I don't know. Whatever your method is. I do it as the Lord intended, as the great ODB once reflected. Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Yeah, baby, I like it raw. The fuck was I talking about? Look, no. Kids, yes. I got kids. I got kids. When you have like kids, sometimes you find yourself saying like a lot of weird shit, right? Like just shit that you never would say in like normal life, Like, in the last year, I found myself saying, Pop, who put poop on the wall? Give back the monkey! There's no way I can make you understand how that happened, you know? Thank you. Somebody with kids, they fucking, it's shit that you never imagine, right? Never in the history of language have those words come together, right? Till that day. Here's another one. It's Cinnamon Toast Crunch, why are you crying? It's not a punishment. I gave everybody Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Hey! Are you wearing underwear? Are you what? Actually, that's how I met their mother. Yeah, I brought up the kids thing. See, I fucked me up before. The how hood is it thing. Yeah, I live in the hood, and I have kids, and we were having like a birthday party, right? My daughter, she's about to turn 3, right? And so like we get our nerve up, right? I get my nerve up. My wife left me out there. Right? There's drug dealers out there 24/7, right? So I go out there, get my nerve up. I'm like, look, Sunday, 2 o'clock, we having a birthday party. I'm gonna need y'all to play rock. And they did it. They did that shit, y'all. Drug dealers are surprisingly considerate. Like, all they want, everybody wants to be appreciated. You just gotta give people a chance, right? Like, all we do is coming up to my wife, like, Sunday, right? 2 o'clock. All right, guys, move it down, move it down. He smelled those balloons. You need to sweep a little bit around here. They were great, though. They were amazing, right? And afterwards, we wanted to show our appreciation, right? We had like all these like leftover cookies and brownies, right? And I go out there, and one of the dudes was black named Troy. I was like, hey, Troy, you want some of these brownies? He like walks up to me. Nah, I'm allergic to nuts. I did not see that shit coming. What? This nigga never has a fucking shirt on. He lets me know I can't be a thug because there's a strictly no shirt policy. Right? You got a fucking ping of that. Wrong you, man. Like, 3 days later, Troy gets shot, right? Yeah. It's okay, he survived, I wouldn't tell him if he didn't. But I couldn't help but think, the dudes that shot him, would they have gone through all the trouble of possible gun charges if they would have known that all they needed was a pack of Planters peanuts? Just like ride by, wait for him to say hi, put it in his mouth. Like, hey man, need your gun? He'd be like, nah. Get my EpiPen. Oh boy. Let's see. Let's see, we got a couple more. Y'all, this is real fast, it's just been on my mind. I'm gonna lose you here. I feel it coming. Does anybody else find it like weird when like white people commit crimes? They like go out of their way on the news to say something nice about them. You know? Right? Like guys just shot up the school and they're like, oh, he plays the cello. Like the Boston bomber dude, he was like on the cover of the road, like had like glamour shot at that thing. You know, like y'all heard like the convicts, the dudes who escaped from the prison. Like they were talking about them, they were like, these guys are geniuses. Geniuses. I'm like, what's so genius? They fucked a fat chick, they dug a hole and they ran. How does that make you Lex Luthor? You know? How does it do that? Now I'm gonna ask y'all help on this one. Cause, alright, look, how many of y'all heard that like one of the convicts, right, they were reporting on the news, one of the convicts was very well endowed. Yes, thank you, and thank you. I don't want y'all thinking I'm walking around here thinking about convict things. Alright, I'm not. I'm not. They were reporting on the news, right, and one of them was involved with the lady, and apparently he was very well endowed, you know, like that was her excuse. They're like, look at her, you know what I'm saying? You got a big dick. I mean, why is that newsworthy? You know, why do I need to know that he has a big dick? I can't hear myself a big dick. Okay, last one. You guys, how you feel about Kanye? Kanye? Yes. Oh, come on, man. Look, I don't understand why you feel so strongly about somebody you don't even fucking know. Kanye's dope. He's amazing, right? But he's like that. He's divided, right? People either love him or they hate him, right? And it's not because of anything he says, right? It's not the content. It's because he goes on these rants. You know what I mean? Like, everybody thinks they deserve their chance at their rant, right? Like some stay-at-home mom in the kitchen. Got Kanye playing in the back. Tired of her adult son's poop-stained drawers. Got it playing. La, 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 tonight get my money. Who else make grilled cheese better than me? A boy. Got that. Monster. I've been on that. I got that. You ain't got the answer, son. That's the greatest big sale of all time. All right, y'all. My name's Karagu. Hey, Michigan.
Keep it going for Karagu, everybody. There we go. There's like a little bit of kitty litter on it, but I wouldn't worry about it. I love, like, give it up for Karagu's style and outfit. Every other comedian is basically wearing like a swimsuit cover. That's hilarious. The birthday party bit is one of my favorite jokes on the Baltimore comedy scene right now, and the image I have of this guy who's like, oh, there's peanuts, is so priceless. And that's one of those things that, like, when I move to San Diego, I'm gonna be like, here's a funny story about like drug dealers, gangs. You got street gangs? You guys no? This is a lovely beach umbrella. Very 10. Like, I don't even know how I'm gonna act here. The next comedian coming to the stage, there's a lot, so many things I enjoy about him. But I mean, he's super funny and he's a super good person. He picked my ass up on the side of the road, not for prostitution, but because I was in a car that was floating away in a monsoon, and he came out and picked me up because he's that good of a person. He also wears a hat with birds on it that I really enjoy. I don't have anything to say about his comedy at all. He's one of the funniest people I've ever met in my entire life. Colin Baker, everybody.
I wore this hat for you. Because in this setting, with this hat on down backwards so the good people can see my face. I feel like I'm gonna do like a 90s one-man show. You're like, I grew up in Westminster, and boy, were there some wacky characters. There was one guy who wore it like this. And one guy who wore it like this. Now my hair's real fucked up. Alright guys, let's get into it. I've been thinking about death a lot. Anybody else? Yeah! Hail Satan guy in the back. I agree. Knights in service to Satan, the coolest guys. Kiss, talking about Kiss. No, I've been thinking about death a lot, but like in a fun way, because I realized I've got a plan. Like right before I'm gonna die, hopefully I'll know it's coming, which is a weird thing to kind of hope, but I like this idea. I want to swallow like 3 to 4 shot glasses full of glitter, and then like 5 or 6 whole Alka-Seltzer tablets, like, just so that my stomach kind of pressurizes, you know? And then when the mortician's scooping out my bits and stuff, the stomach just pops and sprays glitter everywhere. Like, it's just a regular day at work. Oh, honey. Another stiff I gotta scoop out. Hey, what's this? And then he like digs deeper and he'll find like a glass bottle, like something cute like from Michael's, like a little glass bottle. You guys in the crowd know exactly what I mean. That tag has never worked until today. And it's like sealed with wax, and inside is a scroll where I've written in beautiful calligraphy, hooray. I don't know, I've just been thinking about that a lot. Like that thought just sort of moved in like 2 weeks ago and just set up camp. It is here to stay. But I thought like if just I do that, that's like a weird day for that mortician. But if 10 people do that, we're gonna make the fucking news. Like, it's not gonna happen at the same time. They're not gonna be able to trace it. It's just glitter death cult grips nation. That's the only headline that can run. Poland, who are they? What do they want? It's gonna be amazing, guys. So really consider it right before you die. Go to Michael's, pick up some glitter. Know you got an ace up your sleeve as the light envelops you. Like, this is a good bit. So I've been working in a restaurant for the past year in the kitchen, and so my best friend in the world is a 57-year-old Honduran woman named Miriam. She's about yay tall. She's real fun size. She's adorable. We all call her Mama because we're cute as shit. And she doesn't speak any English, but I'm like conversational in Spanish. Like I'm not fluent. There's like a lot of vocabulary and grammar that I forget, and I basically just kind of sound like a really pretentious 5-year-old all the time. Especially because my Spanish teacher in high school was from Asturias, so I have the Castilian lift sometimes. That bleeds into it. And the other day she used a word I didn't know. She said, I said, oh man, Mama, I just couldn't get to sleep last night. And no matter what, I couldn't fall asleep. And she looked up at me and goes, too much Mota. And I didn't know what Mota was. But I was holding a coffee cup, and I'm real confident with shit I don't know. And so I just doubled down and was like, oh, it's probably coffee. Like Mota, mocha, cappuccino, cafe. That makes sense to me. It's a colloquialism, and I just wrote this whole like backstory in my head for like, yeah, this makes total sense. And I was like, oh, Mama, you don't even know. I'm like a Mota addict. I love it. All day, every day. You wake up, 1, 2, 3, Mota. Around lunch, get you out of that 2 p.m. slump. Ooh, a cup of Mota. Sometimes even after dinner if you're nasty. And she was like, wow, that's not good. It's excessive. And I was like, well, that's a weird reaction. And so then, in your mind, smash cut through like 2 weeks of me holding up styrofoam cups and going, Motop. And Mama going like, huh? Before I finally am like, I should Google what this word means. And it turns out it's slang for marijuana. So I didn't lie to her. I just didn't know what I was saying. It's still an accurate description of my day. They say pot use lowers your sperm count, makes it harder to have kids. And I'm like, good, I'm too high and cool for all these babies. Am I right, ladies? You're all monsters. You're all monsters. I never know what I'm going to get when I do that, am I right, ladies? Usually it's silence. So I'm a straight-ish gentleman, straight-ish, and there's a thing that like other straight dudes will say, especially if they're like the gym-going breed of straight dude, where they're like, you know, I want to go to the gym, I want to work out and get swole, but like, what if there's gay dudes in the locker room? Oh no, what if they're gonna like look at my stuff? Oh, what if they're like getting, they're getting turned on because of my dick? This is how straight dudes sound in my head. This is just a series of whines and moans like a puppy. Just, God, everything's so easy. But the thing is, like, that's a pretty shitty and homophobic opinion. But like, I kind of feel the same way. Like, I feel uncomfortable about the idea of gay guys in the locker rooms, but not for any homophobic reasons. It's just because my self-esteem is way too low to be able to survive the hit if no one looks at my dick. Like I don't know what the stats are. I think it's 1 in 5. Again, could be like Motop. Maybe I made that up. But if like 1 in 5 people are gay and there's 10 dudes in the locker room and I don't look up and see 4 pairs of eyes, it's a sad day. It's gonna be a real sad day. Like, I'm not trying to catch a dick. I don't care if they're old or like whatever. Like, I don't want to fuck anybody. I just want them to be like, hey, good job. I like what you're doing around the place. Turned it up like a lightning bolt. That's cool. Good for you. Like, I don't even need them to be like, hey. They could be like, B+. And I'd be like, still on the honor roll, baby. Yes. Oh, mom's gonna be so proud. Great dick, Mom. 60-year-old man told me so at the gym. So you know it's good. It's a classic 70s style dick. Speaking of my mom and improper conversations about the Victorian era. Anyway, she and I like to, I live at home, surprising none of you. That's fine. And she and I get into what I can only describe as wizard duels of depression. Where, like, I don't know, like, you know, lots of people are depressed, but our depression just like she and I are very similar in that when we get depressed, it takes all of the energy that we would spend on other activities and living life and having a great time, and it takes all that energy and doubles down hard on complaining. That's all we want to do. It's the only thing that makes us feel better. And so, you know, we'll sit around the breakfast table with our morning cup of coffee, which is really like a 2:30 cup of coffee, but the point is it's our first cup of coffee because we're both sad. And we'll just like kind of go back and forth, and I'll be like, man, I can't believe this. I hate this fucking job. I work in this kitchen. It's hot. Everyone's shitty. They don't pay me enough. This is bullshit. And she's like, oh man, yeah, I feel you. I would work, but all these chronic illnesses. Can't live with them. You just can't. That's why there's no bumper sticker for that. That's where that ends. But then I'll still go and be like, oh man, I hate Westminster. It's such a shitty town. Everyone's racist and backward here. This is terrible. And she's like, yeah, our house is full of deadly black mold. Well, we sure as hell can't afford to move out, so we're all gonna die of weird neurological illnesses. And I'm like, man, I'm never gonna make it as a stand-up comic. I don't have the drive, I don't have the ambition. What am I doing? I'm just wasting my time. And she's like, oh yeah, I should have never married your father. I mean, you wouldn't be here, but at least I have a chance at happiness, you know? And I'm like, fuck you, that's not how this game goes. Like, we're having a perfectly good volley, and then she just spikes it into the sand with an existential crisis I was not prepared for. Like, but then I realized it's not her fault, it's just like, it's as if I am a precocious tennis-playing 8-year-old, and I just graduated Andre Agassi's tennis camp for tots. That's a thing that exists for the purpose of this joke. But then I have the balls to challenge Andre Agassi to tennis. Like, it's not that, like, she was trying to be mean, she's like 50, so she's 27 years older than me. I can't imagine 27 years of anything, let alone life. Yikes. That sounds like a fucking bummer. No thank you. If I lived through that, I'd be real sad too. I get it. I just shouldn't have had the balls to challenge her to the match, you know? Because if that 8-year-old is playing Andre Agassi, no matter how good he is, he's gonna get spiked in the face. Like 90 miles an hour. It's gonna be a rude awakening. This has become like a theater exercise for me now. I'm just gonna say, thank you guys very much.
Colin Baker, everybody. What that happens for me. I think he opened with the glitter bit just for me too, because I love that joke. I feel like my crush on Colin Baker is very non-sexual. It's very, not that you're not a very sexy person. It's like old-timey. Like I could see us like in wingback chairs, like with him like smoking a pipe, and I'm in a kerchief and he's in his cap, and we're about to like settle in for a long winter's nap. Like that kind of, like it's very like a Dickensian Christmas story. Like I want to sell my hair to buy him a watch chain. Are you guys ready for your final communion except for me? She's incredible. My crush on her is extremely sexual. I just want to rip those glasses off her face and throw her down on the nearest flat surface. Am I right, you guys? She's incredibly funny. She's incredibly talented. She works all over the area, and we're the better for it. Everybody, welcome Catherine Jessup.
I'm just gonna make it weird the entire time. Hi guys. Hi, listen, like 98% of the time I dress like I've got a great fucking personality. Jessica Murphy Garrett, I'm wearing makeup and a boob dress for you. What's up, team? Hi. Hello. Colin was talking about earlier about gay stats, which P.S. I would totally look at his dick, I'm just saying. That got weird too. Not sorry. I'm not sorry for any of it. Anyhow, the stats like 1 in 10. Like 1 in 10 people are gay. That's just math. My family is like 35 people when we get together for Thanksgiving, and no one is out. Because I'm just sitting there looking around being like, at least 3.5 of us are lying to ourselves right now. Is it me? Is it my shoes? I don't know. What's happening? It's cool. It's cool. I like that I can see most of you. It's cool. Comedy, like when you can see people, like comedy in the daylight, comedy with the lights on. It's like a one-night stand with the lights on. I'm into it, but I'd be more into it if I didn't have to see everything right now. It's easier to laugh in the dark, is what I'm saying. Fucking love people watching. You guys like people? I can watch you. We can just people watch each other. Hi. Hi. I love people watching. I live in DC, I live near the zoo. One of my favorite games is Pregnant or Sad. Turns out there are a lot of pregnant dudes out there. Get it, dude? I see you with your man titties. What? I drive everywhere. Anyone drive? You guys drive? We have cars. We're here. What's up? Anyone else take a GPS arrival time as like a personal challenge? Like it said, it's gonna take 56 minutes. God fucking damn. No way, man. We're doing this in 47. Fuck you. Suck it, Siri. You ever notice how people who say that they're like really humble generally aren't? I'm talking about like people who go like, well, like his family gave us the down payment for our place, and like I love my Audi. Like our beach house is nice, but it doesn't have direct beach access. So like whatever, I'm humble. You know who's not humble? The dude who cured AIDS. He's not. He's not at all. There are 2 strains of AIDS, and they found the cure for one of them. And I promise you, that gentleman is not walking around being like, yeah, I mean, I guess like millions of people do get to live because of it, but like whatever. It's just nice to work with people you like. No fucking way. That dude's walking around being like, hey, I cured AIDS. Get on it. No, we don't need a condom. I fixed that shit. You're welcome. What? Like that's how humility works. It's true. On a related note, you ever hear someone talking about having a stalker and just think like, oh, show off. Like, oh my god, they know where I live. They shove every day and it's freaking me out. And it's like, yeah, slow your roll. The mailman comes to my house too. Like, it's not a thing at all, dude. It's true. It's cool. I've been living a little differently the last like year and a half. I've been pursuing my dreams like full time. That was a cheap move break. I'll take it. Yeah, turns out my dreams look a whole lot like poverty, so ha 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 ha. Brush it. Thank you for letting me drink for free. It's true. They evolve. My dreams totally evolve. Like at this point, like my dream is to just get like famous enough that like nobody else can have my haircut. Like listen, like I'm not willing to like kill 6 million people to deep six a mustache, but I've killed every single bug I've ever seen in my apartment, and I feel that that deserves acknowledgement. So yeah, what's up, team? I don't know. It's true. Like I'll do pretty much anything if you'll pay me enough. Like not butt stuff, but like I'll do. I recently had the opportunity to perform at a white party. Jessica laughs. I mean, we're white. Here's the thing. A white party is a black people thing where everyone shows up dressed in all white and drinks like a lot of Ciroc and sangria and has an amazing time. Like, it's the best party I went to in a long time. But, as the only white person at a white party, what do you wear? You can show up and be like, no, it's my Saturday hood. It's totally cool. Like, whatever. Yeah. Oh, that got judgy. That got real, like, don't talk about the Klan. By the way, I specifically love telling that joke in mostly white rooms and just watching people be like, and then be like, so, you're silent. Are you on board with the Klan? What's happening here? This is the moment to be like, they're ridiculous, like that's... You need to laugh fucking hard, guys. P.S. The answer is polite neutrals. Just a lot of like, I respect you and mean you no harm. I got a birthday coming up in a couple of weeks. Not dead yet. Not dead yet. Anyone? No? Okay. I don't care about getting older. I've been lying about my age for years. I look amazing for 57. Thank you. I don't want to brag. It's true. I had to get a new license. Because it's my birthday, I had to get a new license. You have to make choices rush you to the hospital, they're gonna see that. And they're like, probably not gonna kill you on account of you being an organ. But they might only do like 95% of everything they could possibly do to save you. So you just like half wake up from a coma, like, water. And they're like, what? Unplug me? Well, if you insist. Yeah. So I think the answer is to like be an organ donor, but to smoke? So you're like, you want them, you can have them. They're garbage. Everywhere. Take these lungs. They're shit. It's my dream, guys. As far as I can tell, there are two types of people who like to go camping. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. What if I just said that and I was like, okay, Captain Jessup, goodbye? Amazing. So seriously though, there are two types of people who like to go. Listen, there are the people that want to go out into the woods and do a fuck ton of drugs. And then there are people I don't understand. You're fucking mountain goat, get off the rocks. Why are we doing this? It's not cool. It's not cool at all, man. It's true. On a related note, can we please agree to stop dressing dogs as people? Yes. Yes, like no more like Rex is a spirit animal as a princess. That's good. Like Rex is a dog. Rex's spirit animal is probably a dog. Fuck you. The YouTube's just slowing him down and chasing squirrels and fucking pillows. Why don't you like your dog? It's true. I love people do the whole like, oh, they're my family member. I love that. It's like, oh, did your aunt shit on the carpet too? Just my aunt. Alright, good to know. Alright, listen. That's about the end of my time, but I just want to can we just have a real talk moment? Just like a real talk. I live in DC. Which means I don't get to come up to Baltimore as much as I'd like, and I don't get to see Jessica as much as I like. But, every single time I've seen her, she's done a different set, and she's fucking crushed with it. Which is so fucking impossible. Nothing on you. Nothing! If she was not an amazing person, I would hate her so much. She's a fucking oh my god, we're gonna miss you so much. Kill so much shit everywhere you go. You are worth it and are awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Jessica Murphy. This has been incredible. All of these comedians are incredible, and it's just a testament to how smart of a person I am. I am a smart person. And I should acknowledge that not only did you see some incredible comedians on stage, we had some comedians in the audience. I saw Brian Preston here. I saw Nicole here. That's wonderful. I love that. Like my cohort and Brian Preston, I am what the experts are calling biracia. It's very complex. No, it's something that hasn't. It only got super trendy a few years ago. It's true. When my parents met in the 70s and had children in the 80s, this was not a common thing. But recently, someone has come to power
who, he's kind of divisive, but I think it's part of his tenure and reign has sort of made being biracial more common, more acceptable. Obviously, I'm talking about illusionist David Blaine. We're on that same page. No, I'm biracial, and my mother's family is like super waspy. She's from suburban Chicago, and I mentioned earlier, her hobby was like marrying people that her parents would hate. And knitting. She's knit a lot. And so she married my father, and my grandparents were like, I don't know about this. And then my mom was like, but he's a doctor. And they were like, oh. And that like confused them a little bit. And it's like this, a black doctor. It's like a white auto mechanic. An auto mechanic? Oh, he's white. Oh, all right. That's essentially how it was with my dad. No, I love being biracial. It's difficult though. Yeah. Dustin's mom's Spanish. It's all it means, white people. I'm gonna break it down for you. All it means is that there is an angry black lady and an angry white lady sharing like a real small amount of real estate. So I was at the NBA the other day. It's like that. All the time, because while I do not want you to bring that stroller on this bus, come on now. 27 has gone to shit. At the same time, I like the dressing on the side. Can I have it on the side? Is it creamy? In that case, I'll just have none. Do you have like oil or lemon? Thank you. It's like that all the time at the same time in my head. I'm also 32. What? Am I 32? Yeah. 32, being 32 is great. It's super weird though, because like 32, I'm young enough where I'm still allowed to have dreams, like that's acceptable socially, but I'm old enough where nobody actually thinks they're gonna come true. It's like I can still remain in the delusion, and people are okay with that. They're like, oh, you have a little dream. Oh, well, isn't that adorable? Oh, well said, dream. Martin Luther King. You should probably get a real job. That's not at the... Shouldn't be sad, it's okay. You too will be 32 one day. No, I mean, being 32 is great. There are things that have changed, like when I was younger, when I was in my 20s, I used to be that girl that left her credit card at the bar, you know what I mean, like all the time. And now I'm that woman who left her credit card. Now I'm that lady who left her credit card at the bar and spilled buffalo sauce. But there are things that I can't do anymore that I used to be able to do in my 20s. Like in my 20s, I could drink anything. I could drink like shots and then beer and then wine and then like a little bit of lighter fluid, just like a rim of a martini glass. Throw up shots. where when a friend tells me that she's pregnant, my first thought is to go, what the fuck are you gonna do? And I know that's terrible. It's 32, I'm not 19. Like, it's terrible. But now what you'll find, ladies in your early 20s, this will start to happen to you very soon. Your friend will take you out to lunch. She'll go, let's have lunch. And you'll go, I love lunch. Great, that sounds great. And you'll go out to lunch and you'll order a drink and she'll go, I'll have an iced tea. I'm like, wait. And you'll go, okay, weird. I won't have an iced tea, correct? Okay. I thought we were having lunch. And then you'll sit there for a while, and she'll, drop hints, and you won't get it, and it'll be fine. And then eventually she'll say, there's something I have to tell you. And you'll go, okay, I'm drunk, let's go. And she'll go, I'm pregnant. And because of your acting training, you'll turn that, what the fuck are you gonna do, into, wow-wee! I learned this the hard way because the first time when I was like 26, 27, and this started to happen on the regular, I would go, what the fuck are you gonna do? And she would go, live my dreams? I don't know. Raise a family like a goddamn American? I'm not sure what the question is. But recently, I had a pregnancy scare because, not to brag, but I've totally had sex before. Many times, even. And I had a pregnancy scare, and I took my friend out to lunch, and I said, there's something I have to tell you. I don't know why we talk like that, but women totally talk like that. There's something I have to tell you. I think I might be pregnant. And my friend goes, our kids can be friends. And I said, okay, we have had a fundamental miscommunication. No. I'm going to need a ride. They do not let you drive yourself. Baltimore City, I love it. When it goes, in the county, they don't play as well. They do not play as well. But I love kids. I'm not ready for kids, but I love kids. When I was living in Chicago, I worked as a preschool teacher. It's a great job. I was in my early 20s, and it's a great job in your early 20s because it teaches you hardcore about birth control and how on the reg. No excuses. Wrap it up. But I loved it, and they taught me so much about comedy. Like these 3-year-old kids taught me more about comedy than any of these motherfuckers ever could. And that's fun. That's great. Like my last day, I worked there for 2 years. My last day, I was leaving so that I could move here, and I was so sad because I tend to get a little emotional. And I was so sad, and I walked in on my last day. My co-teacher was like, "Oh, I worked at the Jewish Community Center for preschool," and my co-teacher was like, "Oh, Eli Weisberg he made you something. He'd like to show you something." And I was like, "Oh, that's so sweet." And he gives me this piece of paper that has a stick figure drawing of a lady. It's clearly me, because she's got like a little dress on and like wild curly hair. And I was like, "Oh, that's clearly me." And I was like, "But Eli, what is this purple circle on top of my head?" And he goes, "That's your vagina." And to Eli's credit, his mom's a veterinarian. To Eli's credit, it's like looking in a goddamn mirror. Like now, if I'm curious, I kept it. Camden Yards the other day, and I was waiting in the line with my friend to use the bathroom, and of course we were women, so the bathroom line was like 45 minutes long. And that's not a joke. Like, that's real. And somebody else in the line goes, "Yeah, it smells in here." And I was like, 10,000 people are using this bathroom, there's no ventilation, every day. Anytime you're in a room where the best smell case scenario is urine, best case. Like maybe Zipulip, you know what I mean? Like, if I was just in the bathroom just now, and there was a lady who, she went to the bathroom, she washed her hands, and then she picked up her paper towel and did everything else, and then she walked out of the bathroom like she's fucking a surgeon on Grey's Anatomy, like she has to go operate on a heart or something. Like that bugs me a little bit, unless you're like a super neat freak. If that's who you are, then that's fine. But if you're that way about the public restrooms and you'll touch money, I don't get that at all. That lacks logic. Can I ask you a question? Would you, with someone else's permission, use their toothbrush? Yeah, I totally would too. I would absolutely use their toothbrush. And it's fine if you won't, but if you won't and will do a bunch of other stuff, if you won't use someone else's toothbrush, especially if it's the person you're in a relationship with, and you're like, I wouldn't use what you put in your mouth to clean your mouth in my mouth, but let's rub our genitals together. If you won't use someone else's toothbrush, but you will sleep on their couch, I have a hard time respecting it. And you're like, toothbrush, gross. I'd love to put my face where your ass has been for 20 years. That's a thing I have a hard time reconciling. Because you know the couches? I'm going to tell you about the couches. A couch is a shadow box for farts. Couches. Memory box. That's just you watching several seasons of Damages. You know what? This would be more comfortable if I took my pants off. The couch is it's where all your fart memories are kept. A couch is your mom, and your farts are the artwork that you brought home from school. Your couch is well, no, I love it. I love it. And your father's gonna love it. Is it a rainbow? It's beautiful. We're gonna hang it on the fridge is what we're gonna do. Anyway. You guys, you know the difference between black people and white people, correct? Comedians have talked to you about this. Great. The difference between black people and white people is beautiful, man. Y'all age so appropriately. You know what I mean? You're 20, you're 30, you're 40, you're 50, you're 60, you're 70, you're 80, you're 90, you're 100, 110 years old, and then you die because you don't get hypertension. It's incredible. It's beautiful. Black people, 4 ages. Cuter than white babies, absolutely. No contest. Please, God, stay on the other side of the street. Judge on Law and Order. Uncle Ben. That's totally how black people age. I was gonna go into a whole thing, but I want to wrap it up, but I wanted to leave you with another important fact, because I feel like you should know also the difference between men and women. You know the difference between men and women? The difference between men and women is that if you ask a man the last time he ate and cried at the same time, he might not be able to tell you. A woman, on the other hand, will tell you that she was eating the second half of a chicken Caesar wrap that earlier for breakfast. And she was reading a BuzzFeed article about otters.